So when we are working on MQTT, we need to know the packet format, right? We need to know how the messages are being transmitted in the packet form between the client and the broker, right? So this is how the format looks like. The first one in the packet is called a control header, which is 1 byte, and then we have something called packet length, which the name itself is self-explanatory, and it can be between 1 byte to 4 bytes, which indicates the length. And then variable length header. This is not always used in the MQTT packets for simple communication between the client and the broker. And this size depends on what kind of message you are sending. And then ultimately the data, which is the payload. So this is how the packet format looks like. So if we go deep into the each and every section of this packet, you might have to read through the MQTT standard. So to put it in a simple way, the control header, as we mentioned, the control header is 1 byte, right? So 1 byte, in that 1 byte, we have 4 bits for message type and 4 bits for flags. These are the control flags and the message type. So message type could be a connection request, connection acknowledgement, publish acknowledgement. There will be number of messages that will be transmitted, types of messages transmitted between the client and the broker to acknowledge the communications or to send a message or to say the communication has completed. It's basically the protocol messages. So you can see 4 bits are used for that message type, and each has its specific value. Like we have connect, connect tag, publish, pub back, pub receive, pub release, whatever, or all these, subscribe, unsubscribe. You can see here all these include the message types. So based on this, the broker is going to understand what kind of message it is. So very very important thing, right? So first byte itself says what kind of message it is, and then if you go to the flags, so flags again indicates the type. Connect we have this, for connect tag we have this type, but mainly when we publish, the flag indicates the QoS, one of the important point in the MQTT communication, which is QoS, quality of service, which is very very important. What does QoS indicate? So QoS is nothing but basically the agreement between the sender, which is the client, and then the broker, where they agree on how the message delivery is going to happen between them. Are both of them going to ensure that message is going to deliver once, or message is going to deliver multiple times based on the acknowledgement between them, or you are just going to send a message and forget, no acknowledgement at all. So there are many scenarios, right? Especially 3 scenarios are there as per QoS, which is quality of service between the client and the broker. The first one is called at most once, which was QoS 0. This is just fire and forget, means you'll just send the message, you need not bother about the acknowledgement, you keep on sending the messages to the broker. That's the first thing, which is a very simplest thing, but not a most reliable thing, right? Because you don't know what's happening, you just send message, you feel that it is transmitted, but sometimes it might not be, right? And then there's one more thing, which is called at least once. At least once is like once you send the message, the broker is going to send a public acknowledgement, pub act. Based on that, the client is going to ensure that this data is received. Unless public is received after a specific time, this client is going to send messages continuously. And then there is exactly once. Exactly once is like you send the message, you get the act, and then you release the connection. So this is the QoS0, and this is on other side of the broker, whether it be a subscriber or a publisher. It applies to either side communication of the broker. So if you see at a high level, this is how it looks like. So between the client and the broker, you see QoS0, which means you just publish the data, you forget. So client is no more bothered, broker is no more bothered, broker whether it is received or not, or client doesn't check whether it is received or not, just a plain communication. QoS one, where you publish the data to the broker, and the broker gives back the pubback, which is the acknowledgement. Until, as we mentioned, until pubback is received after a specific interval, the client is going to keep on publishing the data, because this is called at least once. The message should be transmitted at least once, which might be a very critical information. And then QS2. This is like we publish the data, and then the broker is going to say publish receive, and post that the client is going to say publish release, and you get the publish completion. So these steps are going to go through, and this is called exactly once. So this happens only once. Okay, so that's the kind of QoS levels that we have as per the protocol. So these basic things are enough to start with the MQTT protocol. Very, very important to know for the beginners who are just starting. So you might use a existing code, but sometimes you might have to edit the code, or create your own library based on the demands, right? So we need to understand the MQTT packet format. So there are many things associated with it. We might have to go through the MQTT 5, the latest MQTT 5 release, and then look through the specification to see the various formats supported. If we see, this is the MQTT version 5 standard. So check the websites for this standard, and you have to go through this specific standard to understand the different protocol formats. What we explained is a very plain one, but you need to go through these specifications to understand how the connection happens, how the publish happens, and the packet formats, everything are clearly mentioned with proper definitions. So designers who are going to start working on MQTT protocol must go through this document to understand the underlying basics of MQTT protocol format. Thank you.